Today, I would like to present to you my findings. After years upon years of research, I finally discovered how to win the Bachelor ette in Paradise, a short guide to success in love. So, why should you want to win this? Duh. I mean, don't you want love? This is the only way to win love, and all other methods have failed. This has been proven because look at dating apps. You want to discover the one and only person you were ever meant to be with because you have one chance and that's it. You're also going to gain access to a social network of other depressed single people who want to bone something fierce, and that's you or 29 other people. Also, you win some money, but we don't really like to talk about that. So why am I doing this for you? Well, I care about your well-being. Call me your personal Chris Harrison. That guy in the background is Chris Harrison. He's smiling at you because he cares about you. I also want to live vicariously through you because I am never going to be on this show. But you will, and you will win. I have watched enough of this show to understand the essence of love and romance because this show has distilled it down to a fine powder. I also want to prove that I have not wasted my time watching this show for years and years and researching it for years and years. I'm also making some money off of it, so please win so I can be richer. So what will you learn? You're going to learn how to end up like this happy couple up here in the top right corner, Benoit and Claire, who are definitely still together and not broken up, and she's definitely not the bachelorette who got fired because she was too hard to work with and then also started dating one of the contestants pretty early on, so they got rid of her and replaced her with someone else. Definitely not that. You're also going to go from a Cyrano to douchiac to a yes I do-iac, because nothing says yes I do like marriage. Also, you're going to learn, are you a fuckboy? So what if you're a fuckboy? Why does this presentation resemble portfolio management? But wait, can we get back to the fuckboy stuff? Fuckboy is agendered. So, the first night you come on to The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, you learn a few things. You learn somebody's name, you see their face, you see their clothes, but you also find out their occupation, and your occupation really sets you apart. But you need to have a job, and The Bachelor makes it so that you have to stretch whatever it is you do to make it sound interesting. And you could have many different things as your job. I provided this picture here to help you figure out what is a job, but I also wanted to provide you with examples of jobs you can have on The Bachelorette. Foster parent recruiter, medical sales rep, attorney, house flipper, nurse, cattle rancher, flight attendant number 2, flight attendant number 3, girl named Lauren, other girl named Lauren, golf pro, financial analyst, car bid spotter, the box king, roller boy, connoisseur, social media manager, electrician, pro wrestler, tickle monster, firefighter, aspiring drummer, social media participant, sports reporter, recent master's graduate, doula, plastic surgery office manager, aspiring dolphin trainer, neonatal nurse, chicken enthusiast, gerontologist, bartender, waboom, model, cowgirl. But you can't be unemployed. It just doesn't work. One girl had unemployed as her job and she got sent home the first night because you just can't be unemployed. The next is style. As you can see here in this picture, there is a woman dressed up as a sloth. Now, underneath this sloth costume, she had a nice outfit on because everyone knows it's all about impressing with your looks. And there's 3 S's to style. You got your shoes, you got your shirt, and then you get service, as Bachelorette Hannah Brown tells you right there. With those 3 things, you're good. It's really not that hard. You just need to make sure that you have something that is good looking, that you've spent some money on, and you are there to impress. Now, next is a little bit more important. Trauma. So if you're a white person, first, mention your mom And then mention your dad. Talk about your parents. Talk about how they're gone. Talk about how they're still there. Talk about how they abused you. Talk about how they were always there, a little too much there. Do not mention your fear of bumper cars and lizards. This is real. Bachelor contestant Annalise Puccini did it. And then they made a vignette of lizards in bumper cars driving around. And they just made fun of her the entire time. Just don't do it. Do not mention anything that will alienate the bachelor, bachelorette, or other contestants' interests, because the moment you mess up, your chances are all gone, just like in real life. Assert a power dynamic. If on The Bachelor, your power dynamic might scare this fragile man. Be careful. If on The Bachelorette, she'll feel safer if you assert you're the alpha male who will always protect her, but also make sure to gatekeep any men who don't meet your newfound moral compass regarding what constitutes the right way and wrong way to treat a woman, even if that means interrupting her while she's having some frankly really steamy makeout sessions. Trauma for people of color. If you get upset, some white person will generalize you as an angry insert your background here. There is also a possibility for an actual white supremacist to be on the show. Now, don't worry. Other white people beat this guy up when he showed that he was a white supremacist. However, the producers like to put him on group dates with black people, and that's not good. But the Bachelor themselves, they're fine. They're usually pretty good at addressing these issues when they're brought up, and they received them pretty well. When they were told that there was a white supremacist, they were like, "Excuse me, what?" And they promptly got rid of this guy. So don't be afraid to voice your concerns. Just be afraid of the producers. But if you're Asian, you probably won't make it that far, given that there's only two really notable Bachelor contestants who were Asian. One was this guy named John, who was one of the first programmers at Venmo. And he didn't get very far, but then he went to Bachelor in Paradise, and he did sort of well. And then there was a woman named Tammy recently whose personality can best be described as nobody likes her, and she 2 times everyone. So, not great. Now, fuckboy. Agendered. Fuckboy is really important. If you have a fuckboy, that really lowers your chances. But the problem is, how do you know if you're a fuckboy? Well, luckily, I've got that handled because I have made a mathematical equation for you to figure out if you're a fuckboy. And this is that equation. I'd like to tell you a little bit about it. So we are calculating f of x here, which is the severity of fuckboy that you are or possibly aren't. S is your style of personal fashion. G is the originality of your fashion choice. And SSU is how suave your style is. Originality is more important than suaveness because you can be a little bit suave and have some crazy outfit and you will impress. But if you don't have any suaveness, that's a bad thing. And you can't divide by 0, so you got to have some suavicity to your outfit. Next is the absolute value of JO, which is your job. Cannot be negative because then you'd be unemployed, which, as we said, you can't be. P is your personality. This is a coefficient equaling 1. Everyone has a personality, but it may not show up on the show, which is what post-show Instagram accounts are for and thirst traps. Many competitors or contestants end up being just boring people who don't get a good edit. But once you look at them on Instagram, you're like, wow, these are really funny people, interesting people who do things that make the world better, or they're just really hot and we never got to see a lot of them. It's kind of a mixed bag. Now you have the trauma of white or trauma POC. Trauma white is a coefficient of 2 and trauma POC is a coefficient of 1 because white people have it harder and really want to tell you about it. Now this is all divided by A, your attractiveness, how hot you are. If you are a woman of color, this value will be higher in the eyes of white women who want to fawn over your Instagram and say how good your skin looks. This is a real thing. It's racist. It's crazy. But it's lower with men. If you are a white woman, all men will love you, while white women will call you the most boring contestant yet and then shit on you because you're boring. However, if you're really waspy, your value will be higher because more men will comment on your stuff, but more white women will comment negatively on your stuff. No nerds are allowed, though, unless you have a pixie cut, in which case you attain the max A value of 10, because that is the point where all people agree that you are hot. Now, if you're a man, this value is kind of up in the air. You're usually just going to get a default 3 because all men on this show are pretty much the same amount of attractive, except for like 1 or 2 dudes who like have a value of 1, and they know they're a 1. They know they're not 3s. They're not fooling anybody. Now, all of that is multiplied times the WACC, or the weighted average cost of capital. And the next few slides are going to depict how to calculate this. Now, this is the equation for the weighted average cost of capital. The weighted average cost of capital is a risk determinant. It is telling you, based on the amount of risk, how much do we want to invest in this capital expenditure, or this capital project. And for you, it's really more about how much risk do you want to invest into this show. You're a fuckboy. You could be fucking around. Or you could be devoting your life to this one person. Unless it's Bachelor in Paradise, in which there's a bunch of people. But Bachelor, Bachelorette, you could be devoting your life to this one person. Is that worth the risk? So use this equation. So KE is your RFR plus beta times MRP. You have that times your equity over debt plus equity plus your after-tax cost of debt times your debt over debt plus equity. Now, there's obviously components there we need to figure out. So now we're going to calculate the cost of equity, KE. And we're going to use the CAPM pricing model, also known as CAPM. The problem with CAPM is that it determines that, most likely falsely, that for any amount of raising value of risk, there is a higher risk of reward. So if your risk value is 1 or 2 or 3, as you get 1, 2, 3, your reward will go up. But that is not necessarily the case when it comes to The Bachelor, because you could have so much risk and you're really just going to end up with one person who may not even like you. So it's not exceptionally valid. However, it's more valid than the other ways to calculate this. So we're going to go with this. So for the CAPM pricing model, we're calculating KE. We have RF, which is our time value of money. Don't worry, we'll go over that. Plus beta A, which is a reward for bearing systematic risk, times your amount of systematic risk, which is RM minus RF. Now, time value of money, what is that? Well, it's telling us what is in a certain amount of time or future, what is the value of this money? So future value of money is your present value times 1 plus I over n to the power of n times t. I is your interest rate, n is your recurrence, and t is your amount of time. And your present value is your future value times or over 1 plus I over n to the power of n times t. Now, you're going to know most likely your present value of money, which you can then calculate your future value, or you know the future value. That would be if this were a textbook. But The Bachelor isn't a textbook, because this is love, and this is life, and life is love, and love is life, and this is important. Now, market value of debt. The market value of debt formula is this. You're also going to need this. I don't want to go too much over it, but in the end, you get your WACC, and then you calculate your fuckboy formula. So, are you a fuckboy? If you got a value over 5, you're a agendered fuckboy. It ranges from greater than 0 to 69. Nice. You can't get 0. I got 0. I'm so unfuckboy. I'm a mathematical impossibility, and it's hard to be this woke. But honestly, it's better to be a fuckboy, because the reward of this show is not worth the risk. And if you, as a fuckboy, go on this show, like, you know what? It's going to open you up to more DMs. You're going to get laid a bunch more. I guess that's the thing you're going for. But for the non-fuckboys out here, the show just isn't really worth the risk. If you're not a fuckboy, though, you do have a better chance of winning. So maybe it is worth the risk if you really like the person. So how do you stand out? How do you win? Well, you gotta keep to the B's. Be good at kissing. Actually enjoy foreplay, you dumbo. Everybody likes physical interaction. And one of the best ways to show physical interaction, to show physical chemistry, is with kissing. When you kiss that person, you will know if there's chemistry, if this is something that's going to work. And sometimes it doesn't work, and you kiss them and you don't feel a thing, or it doesn't work, or it's not fluid. and you realize that, yeah, maybe it's just better off to be friends. And this is a really important step on this show. It happens frequently where you make out and, you just know right then and there. And I think that happens pretty early on, especially on American Bachelor, Bachelorette. Be confident. It's sexy to be sure of yourself. Confidence shows that you understand who you are and what you have to bring to the world. You're unique, and you know everything you have to offer the other person. And it allows you to convey to them why you're the best, why you're better, why you're worth their time. Be flirtatious. How will they know you like them, you dumbo? Look, you gotta be upfront with them sometimes, and sometimes you gotta play it a little coy, but you still gotta play. You still gotta be flirtatious. You still gotta show them that you're interested, that you care, that you're invested, that you're not wanting to just play in the pool or hang with your bros. Be complimentary. People enjoy hearing positive things about themselves. When you get a compliment, it makes you feel so good. One, it shows, again, that the person cares, or it shows another person that you care about them. It also is a form of being flirtatious, so really it's just beneficial to the last point. Be a friend to others. How you treat those around you says a lot about you, ya dumbo. Look, besides just winning the affection of this person, you're going to make friendships with the other people on this show. You spend a lot of time with nothing else to do. There are mostly no books. You can work out, or you can just chill with your friends, and you gain deep friendships. And if you don't gain these deep friendships, that says something about you. It says that maybe you're not going to play fair or play nice or play at all. And I think it's a great sign to the Bachelor, the Bachelorette, that, maybe this person isn't right for a relationship. Be vulnerable. Vulnerability is scary. Being vulnerable is one of the hardest things you can do. It shows that you are willing to put trust in another person to know things about you. But it also shows that this kind of awkward feeling, something that maybe you would think that they wouldn't like you for, that you're willing to show them it on the risk that they're going to like it. Being vulnerable is one of the most important things you can do, and I encourage it highly. Be a risk taker. Being vulnerable is even a risk, but taking that risk is so important. If you don't take risk, nothing's really going to come to you. You have to make sure that you put yourself out there and do things that you wouldn't normally do. Like, for example, eat a lemon meringue pie off of the Bachelorette's stomach. It's a rough risk, but the reward is there because they know that you're willing to put yourself out there. So branch out, see where it leads you. And also be you. No one is more worthwhile than you. You are unique, and you deserve to be loved and appreciated for who and what you are, ya dumbo. This show is telling you that in a crowd of 30, no matter what, even if a bunch of people on the internet think that you're boring, the most boring person yet, you're still you. You still stand out. You're still someone that people are putting bets on because they see you and they see you as standing out and being unique, but you're deeper than that. You know everything about yourself. Show that. Show who you are and why you are the best. But what if you're a fuckboy? Well, not all hope is lost though, because you can get Instagram famous, or you can end up on Bachelor in Paradise. And here they are. Here's our sexy losers. Just remember, they're losers. It's where losers, again, like you, go to win. Meet another loser and decide you're better off together as losers. Burn your skin, destroy your roots by living on a 100-degree beach for a month. Your hair will also turn blue because it will be dyed by the dirty water. You actually get to have sex, though, and they give you condoms, unlike on The Bachelor Maine, in which you have to get to the final 3 to have sex. Everyone here has proved that they are allowed to have sex by being picked to have been on this show previously. You get to go on fun dates that appropriate Hispanic culture. Usually you get to like learn maybe 2 minutes of salsa, eat, I don't know, some gazpacho, and then try to learn a sentence of Spanish if you don't already know Spanish. And then people will put on a big show for you. It's kind of appropriative, yeah. Anyways, discover if truly no one likes and or loves you, which is possible because some people literally get picked by no one and they just leave and they cry and then they're never happy again. So yay. Now, there's so many choices. There's bound to be someone else here who matches your fuckboy rising moon. Unless there isn't, in which case, again, nobody likes or loves you. You may get a redemption, though. So, let's say you do win. You win The Bachelor. You win The Bachelorette. You win Bachelor in Paradise. What now? Well, you're engaged, most likely. You're engaged to the love of your life. Like these two, Jordan Kimball and Jenna Cooper. Enjoy your life. Love is fantastic and wonderful, and it's a great feeling. It warms your heart and makes you feel like you can accomplish anything together. Like the world has meaning and there is some rocket shooting you to the moon that makes you invincible. Unless and until Reality Steve publishes text conversations between you and an ex, doesn't actually have to be an ex, but it helps if it's an ex, that make it look like you were together right before the show started and you were going to get back together afterwards, because this was all a ploy for social media fame. But you didn't realize that Reality Steve was on the case to break the news to everyone, but mostly the person you just got engaged to on this reality dating TV show where you were handpicked by TV's version of private investigator casting agents. That you are a big liar. Fuck you, Jed, you piece of shit. How can you do that to Hannah Brown? She's a fucking model who loved you, you Dumbo. And like, you played music for her and she was entranced and she clearly liked everything about you. And then you fucked it up. And now she's like lonely and also not great because she said the N-word on Instagram and then didn't realize that was a bad thing. So you actually kind of fuck Hannah Brown. Or if you're a woman, it's probably going to be revealed that it was Photoshop because men are the worst, and then Reality Steve will apologize, but it's okay because you realize that the guy you're engaged to was not even that sure of being engaged to you, and he ditched you right away, even though you proved you weren't lying. Like, what the shit, Jordan? Jenna proved she was innocent, and she was literally the girl of your dreams. Like, she's a super hot social media manager who likes your humor, your weird flaws, wants to bone you all the goddamn time because you're fucking Zoolander. She's like a good Christian. She's blonde. Like, everything you wanted, and she also like just fawned over you. But it's okay though. She fell in love. She got a pygmy pig. She gave birth. But y'all still wasps. And that's unforgivable, like goddamn. You can though always come back on the show if it doesn't work out. Like you can even make being on the show your thing as a job. Like you can win The Bachelor and then fail because your marriage or engagement failed after the show, then come back on the show. Or you can just not even get up to that point and fail so many times that you just keep coming back. There's this guy, Chris, who has been on the show or series of shows 6 times. So, should you go on The Bachelor? Hard no, fam. Like, this show is not worth it. Unless you're pretty hot, in which case you should go on the show. Power to you. A girl I had a pretty big crush on in high school auditioned. And they told her she was desirable, but also she was too short. She's like 4'11", 5 feet. So short. And they were like, nah, not going to happen. One of my coworkers just got at a bar to be a contestant on The Bachelorette. So, you could just be reasonably hot. And yeah, you could be on the show. You could also go on one of the many spinoffs that won't make you as much money, like Temptation Island, Blind Date, The Proposal, Too Hot to Handle, The Circle, Love Island. There's so many to name. I Want to Marry Harry. But the best of these is Temptation Island, which is 4 couples come in and then they're separated and put into a house with sexy singles, and they're told don't touch each other, don't sleep with each other, and try and come back after a certain amount of time and be a couple again. And only one couple did it successfully and then broke up later. So yeah, it's a rough show. Don't ever go on that show. It's a stupid idea. Or you could end up in one of the international versions, of which the Australian version is the best because they pick better contestants. They pick better bachelors and bachelorettes. The shot quality is higher. The feelings you get from watching the show are so much deeper, of happiness, of laughter, of love. It's just superior. But it's less trashy, and I kind of watch The Bachelor for the trashiness. It's great also if you do want to start a career in social media and you think you're a good person. And if you do go on, tell me about it. I will never get on it. I'm too quirky for them. That's what I'm going to go with. That's definitely the reason, the only reason. So thank you for listening to this presentation on The Bachelor and how to win.